Double digits! We are now on my vinyl collection part 10. Finishing up the C's and going to be starting the D's towards the end of this video. But before we get into that, guys, a few things I just want to say really quick is today is March 22nd. Now for most people, a lot of people would say that March 22nd is the first day that Cosmos from the Fairly Odd Parents had an idea.
Follow me into the TV! I've got an idea! Wednesday, March 22nd, Cosmo had an idea!
But for me, it is my birthday. Yeah. Quite the coincidence right there. Also as well too, what's going to be playing in the background is the debut demo by Erikar. Cornigr, these guys right here, just finally put up the LP variant sales for this demo that was released back in 2018, I believe. And as much as I bitch and moan and groan about atmospheric black metal on this channel, I'd say by now Erikar is the most promising and starting to become my favorite atmospheric black metal band at the moment, because their blends of both dungeon synth and black metal really complement each other very well, and the two demos they've done as of yet are absolutely phenomenal. I'd love to hear these guys do a full length. So definitely check this out, and if you are interested in getting it, Cornigr has LP variants for it. Okay, with that all out of the way, we can finally get on with this collection part right here. Last part we ended it with Giles Corey, or Giles Corey, I always say Giles. And we're also going to start this part with another Giles Corey. This is the EP from 2013, Cyhyraeth. For the longest time, this was only a digital release, but recently, back in I believe the summer of 2020, the Flenser finally put an LP variant for this and bought it right away. Now, I will admit, Cyhyraeth compared to the debut full length is night and day, as I believe the debut full length by Giles Corey came out like around 2010, and this EP came out in 2013. And the big difference is you can really tell a lot more of it sounds like a Have a Nice Life record than a Giles Corey record. It's more upbeat and not as dismally dark. So I guess that's kind of why Dan Barrett kind of gave up Giles Corey and has been focusing more on the very kind of semi-dark, melancholic take that he does with Have a Nice Life, and Cyhyraeth is kind of like the final chapter for Giles Corey. Other than that, for the packaging, the Flenser did a pretty good job with this. So you have artwork right here, backside with track listings, and this LP variant comes on clear with kind of like green and purple splatter, and I'm not sure if it's going to show, but there is an etching on side B. There it's kind of showing right there of all that weird lettering, which is very similar to that of the album artwork you see right here. Up next is the debut full-length by Cornigr, Relics of Inner War. This is a Finnish black metal band that I never think I've ever shown this off in any of my vinyl updates, so this is like the first time ever talking about this here on this channel. And I mean, it's decent Finnish black metal, and that's about it. Like, if you're aware of what Finnish black metal sounds like, you know, just very fast tremolo pick guitars, always being aggressive, high, raspy, shrieky vocals, it's got all that. I mean, it's done fairly well, but nothing to, like, you know, bend over backwards for. But I will say tracks on here like Baptism Below and Death Triumph are pretty good solid tracks on here. But the real selling point for me, however, as to why I got this, was Nuclear War Now had copies of this, and this is put out through Territar Possession, which this label has some really good stuff, but it is such a nightmare to buy LPs by them, because if you buy anything as a US citizen from that distro and label, we're talking like $25 and up for just regular shipping and handling, the cheapest, and it's such a nightmare. But other than that, if you like Finnish black metal, you'll have no trouble whatsoever getting this. Other than that, the packaging is bare bones as hell. I mean, front and back, and it's just on standard black vinyl. As well too, I have their sophomore full length, that being Funeral Harvest. Definitely, I would say, has some of their best material in terms of black metal on side A. It just feels like they beefed up everything about them tenfold, especially in the production and execution with this album. Tracks on here like Foss, Victim, and Devil's Church is stellar stuff overall. However, I can't really recommend this one more than the previous full length, as side B is just all this kind of like droney noise buildup that just kind of comes off like a snooze fest that really doesn't offer anything. So really, to me, this comes off more like an EP with just droney noise on side B, so kind of disappointed on that aspect. But regardless, other than that, it's overall pretty solid. As for the layout and packaging, I do like that, as it has that kind of like golden print for the artwork. Same with the backside, and once again put out through Territar Possession. This, however, comes with a lyric sheet and a band picture right there, and once again just on a standard black vinyl. Up next is what I would consider one of the very best Finnish black metal albums ever made, and it was released back in 2013, and that would be Cosmic Church with Ulysses. Oh my god, this album is incredible. It's atmospheric black metal, yes, but there's so much more to its dynamics than just the basic fundamentals of atmospheric black metal. Because you can definitely tell to an extent it takes influence from Paysage d'Hiver, but whereas Paysage d'Hiver kind of overstretches out these songs to like 13 plus minutes, this just feels a little bit more cut down and adds a lot more melody, and just feels like a lot more is going on than just always trying to be repetitive to create that, you know, cold, icy atmosphere. Cosmic Church adds so much more to it and makes it all the more enticing. The acoustic works on here, especially the acoustic guitars, are absolutely glorious, along with the high-pitched shrieks by the vocals that make the whole atmosphere all the more icy and cold and enticing. It's just Finnish black metal galore at its absolute best. And that's saying a lot, because Cosmic Church does have a lot of great albums within their discography, but the fan favorite for a lot of people is Ulysses, along with mine. Now, this is the first press, although they did do a repress a handful of years later, which is literally identical to this pressing right here. So you have artwork, which I love that photo right there. Backside with track listings. Comes on a gatefold, double LP, but all come on standard plain black vinyl, but it does come with this booklet with lyrics and more photography. One side is the Finnish original lyrics along with the English translation on the other side, which is really neat. So definitely, if you guys can ever get a chance to get Ulysses, I can't stress it enough. This is, again, as I said before, one of the absolute best Finnish black metal albums I've ever heard. The only other thing I have by Cosmic Church is their last album that supposedly they'll ever do, which is titled, yeah, I'm not going to try to pronounce it, just know that it's their last album. This was kind of like a strong way to end the project, because supposedly they just want to be done with it, no interviews, no represses, yada yada yada. They had a big giant Facebook post of how this was the end for them, and I guess they just wanted to end the project on a high note, which they definitely did, because this is another stellar release by Cosmic Church. Like, honestly, I'm not that crazy for the Finnish black metal, you know, scene. I know a lot of people adore that scene to death here on YouTube, and I get it. You know, they're one of the more reliable Scandinavian countries because they really make black metal all the more kind of like riff heavy and aggressive. But Cosmic Church for me is easily some of the best stuff out of it, because it's just, it has, again, that aggression to an extent, but the atmosphere is just absolutely transducing to a whole nother level, and they make it work all their own, really. It's kind of hard to describe other than you need to check it out. It's just very trance-inducing, and I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, I would say this is more energetic compared to Ulysses, but still has the grade A writing style that you want for anything in terms of atmospheric black metal. As for the layout and packaging, again, you have this artwork with that kind of like red hooded figure, which I just, again, love the photography here. Backside with the same deal. Standard black vinyl, once again, but it does come with a booklet, and just like Ulysses, one side is the Finnish lyrics and the other side is the English translation, which is really neat. Proceeding on next to even more extreme metal, and I gotta say, looking at this part right now, besides Giles Corey, which was the first record, everything within this part is either black metal or death metal, so hopefully you guys enjoy this part. But yeah, next up is Crematory with the compilation Denial. Now yes, I did say compilation, and Denial was an EP, but this was put out through Necroharmonic Productions, as you can see right there, and they made this into a compilation because this has their 3 previous demos, which are the Exodum, Wrath from the Unknown, and Netherworlds of the Mind. And funny enough, how I got this record was I won this in a raffle contest back in 2015. I won this at a raffle show because the vocalist to this Providence, Rhode Island grindcore band Phlegm did kind of like a fundraiser show for some dude that was like in the hospital, and they wanted to help him with his bills, so every dollar raised would help him with all of his medical bills. I'm not sure exactly who the person was, but I know that's what the show was for. And funny enough, again, keep that in mind, this is a fundraiser show. That's the same show I saw Intoletarian play. So just know that, okay? Intoletarian did a fundraiser show. And that's the same show, obviously, where I met Antichrist Kramer. And surprisingly, he was a very talkative person to me that night. But anyway, with the raffle, what was going on was, you know, you put in $1 and you get a raffle ticket. Most people were given like $1, $2, or $5 max. I gave that woman $50 worth of raffle tickets, and I was winning every single prize. That it seemed like people at the show almost wanted to kill me because I was winning everything. But the selling point for me was I wanted to win this Crematory LP set right here, and I did, and I was so happy because this was the selling point for me, because this is just prime, primitive, Swedish, old school death metal. They were only active from 1989 to 1993, but all of their awesome work lies within this compilation right here, and it's so, so glorious. It's just gritty, rough around the edges, ugly death metal in its purest form, and it's fucking awesome. If you want a perfect example of old school Swedish death metal, fucking Crematory, best bet. As for the layout and packaging, it does have the artwork from Denial, which is really badass. Backside with band logo, band themselves, and this is limited to 166 copies. I got number 114. Comes on a gatefold, as you would guess, band photo collage and just notes and everything going on right there. This is pretty cool. It does come with like a paper flyer of one of their old shows when they did it with a Dismember and a few other bands, which is really sick. Printed inner sleeves, which is all old school death metal looking type of artwork. So you have side A, side B, side C, and side D. Double LP both come on 2 different colors. So A and B come on this purple marble color right here, which is really cool. And side C and D come on this red translucent color. Again, can't stress it enough, if you want awesome old school Swedish death metal, you gotta check out Crematory. And moving on to even more great death metal within my collection, next up is Cryptopsy, Blasphemy Made Flesh. My personal favorite Cryptopsy album. Now there's always a big ongoing debate as to whether either this or None So Vile is the best Cryptopsy album. And don't get me wrong, both albums are absolutely phenomenal, taking nothing away from None So Vile, but Blasphemy Made Flesh I've always just enjoyed a bit more. Maybe it's because Lord Warren's vocals on here are just absolutely terrifying. I mean, the track on here, Open Face Surgery, the scream he does at the end is just eesh, intense. Plus, the bass line on any Cryptopsy album, especially their first 2, are just awesome, and the bass work on here is just incredible as well too. I don't know, it's just, I've always liked the riffs and just the overall production and rawness more of Blasphemy Made Flesh compared to None So Vile. But either way, you guys should all know this, because if you like death metal, you should know Cryptopsy. But yeah, this is a 2012 repress, and they keep it pretty true to the original. So you have artwork, backside with track listings. Comes with a printed inner sleeve, side A with the band, and side B with all the lyrics. And this vinyl pressing comes on like a brownish marble color, I believe limited to 500 copies. Of course, since I was just speaking of it, I also have None So Vile by Cryptopsy. Again, I still prefer Blasphemy compared to None So Vile, but this is still an awesome record. Again, if you're a death metal fan, this is just an essential listen and something you guys gotta have. for any death metal fan. Obviously tracks in here like Slit Your Guts, which is kind of like the fan favorite track, Graves of the Fathers, Dead and Dripping, just again, all stuff that you guys should all know, plus as well, Lord Worm kills it on this record too. So you got the iconic artwork right there, backside with the track listings, and again just a more blown up picture of the guy's head, printed in her sleeve once more with lyrics on one side and band picture on the other, and this just comes on standard black vinyl. Next record is a black metal record, and that would be, I believe it's pronounced Csejthe from what I've been told, with their full-length La Mort du Prince Noir. Awesome Quebec black metal. If there are two places in this world that are probably the most reliable places for black metal, it's of course France. And for some reason Quebec, well then again, Quebec does have a lot of French-speaking people, so makes a lot of sense. But yeah, this is just stellar atmospheric black metal. If you're a fan of the first two records by Fortress, especially the more ambient atmospheric parts by Fortress, you'll definitely dig this. It's a bit more mellow, but definitely has the same writing approach, just like Fortress. Very dark and atmospheric and just overall really good. Wasn't really crazy for their latest full length because they kind of gave up that somewhat moody, melancholic sound that they definitely mastered with this record for a more aggressive approach, and it just didn't really pan out all that well. But definitely their best record, I would say, is La Mort du Prince Noir, which I probably am saying very wrong. But yeah, other than that, you have very basic artwork right there, black and white, backside with the band logo and track listings. Standard black vinyl as well, as you would guess, but comes with a lyric sheet and just artwork and credits, I guess, on the back. Continuing on with even more black metal, next up is the debut full-length by Cult of Fire. Oh, the live performances these guys do is incredible. Saw them, at the Mesta Morts Festival back in, I believe, November of 2019, and they put on shows that are more like an experience than just your typical, concert type of event, because they will have all the get up and dress up, the stage attire that makes it really seem like an authentic ritual is taking place, that really gives like that whole Buddhist vibe all their own, and it's just absolutely incredible and just more of an experience of a show, and I would kill to see these guys live again. But yeah, their debut right here, I would say, in terms of the whole epic, black metal sound they're going for, they definitely stylized it very well all their own with their debut. They really didn't bring like that whole type of like Buddhist, Eastern sound all that much until later on in their discography. But I would definitely say if you just want more of their explosive metal, pure metal, extreme metal sound, definitely go with the debut right here. As well too, I know I just said they're a black metal band, but really I would say they appeal more to just metal fans who like, really energetic melodic riffs. If you just overall enjoy that, you'll definitely enjoy Cult of Fire regardless if you're a black metal fan or not. But yeah, as for the layout and packaging, I think it's really cool. So you have artwork right here. Love that band photo, looks really cool. Backside with the track listings. One thing I gotta say though is the first band logo they used right here is pretty goofy looking. Comes on a gatefold. Standard black vinyl, but as well it comes with an A2 poster, again, of the goofy band logo, which I really don't care for, with the album artwork just all in black and gray. Then I have their sophomore full length, and my personal favorite by Cult of Fire, because this is where they truly add their own unique style of really blending all kind of like that Hindu vibe to like the absolute next level. It's still got a lot, of course, of melodic riffs and that whole epic black metal vibe, but the Hindu spirit, I would say, and aesthetic really bleeds out throughout this album. They really flesh out their sound to the next level with this full length right here, and I would definitely say this is their magnum opus as of yet of the 3 full lengths, or should I say 4 full lengths they've done as of yet. This has actually now become quite difficult to get now, as I've seen it go on Discogs for quite an inflated price, so hopefully they do represses soon, because Cult of Fire typically keeps a lot of their stuff in print, so I'll have to wait and see, but definitely I can't stress enough, if you want to get into Cult of Fire, this is the place to start. So, awesome artwork, I love that. I'm pretty sure it's like what, the goddess, the Hindu goddess or whatever of like death, and fuck, that artwork is totally badass looking. Backside with more crazy Hindu looking artwork. The track titles are all around it, but in a different language that I can't speak. Comes on a gatefold right here with artwork. Booklet stapled inside. This is their second logo, which I think looks a lot cooler than the first one. And just all crazy abstract Hindu looking imagery inside the booklet, which looks totally awesome. Once again as well, another standard black vinyl, but this does come with the poster of that Hindu goddess, which again looks fucking badass as hell. Finally, for Cult of Fire, I also have their latest double full length, which is Moksha and Nirvana. One of my favorite albums from last year of 2020, that really one side of it is their aggressive side, which is Moksha, and Nirvana is more of kind of like the Hindu side that has that kind of like ritualistic spirit going on here. Again, both sides are absolutely stellar, and this album together, its runtime is like, I think, a little over an hour. So each album is roughly half an hour long, but if you enjoy one, you'll enjoy the other, basically. But other than that, the packaging and layout for this is fucking glorious. So you have Moksha on this side, Nirvana on the other side. Comes on a gatefold right here, which this whole thing is supposedly the new logo now for Cult of Fire, which is quite ridiculous, but kind of cool. Comes with this fold-out sheet of all different colors representing something. I know the last time I showed this, someone in the comments described what this was all about, so I'm not, again, sure what it means, but there's definitely some type of like hidden meaning going on here with all the different colors with this. Comes with a booklet as well, with just more crazy Hindu looking artwork, which is really cool. Double LP, and I got the colored variant, with both LPs are in completely different colors. So this is the one for Moksha, which comes on this blue and white swirl, looks totally beautiful. And the other LP variant is Nirvana, which comes on this smoky gray, black, white swirl. Again, looks awesome. Finishing up, next up is Cynic, Traced in Air. This album has a very, very special place in my heart because this was released, I believe, in 2008, but I didn't discover this until like 2010, 2011 when I was in high school. And man, I remember when I was trying to discover, you know, more of the metal music out there, because I didn't really know that much at the time. I came across this album in a thumbnail, not thinking much of it. I just thought the album artwork kind of looked pretty crazy and trippy looking around that time. And I'll never forget it. It was the track, Integral Birth. I hear that drum intro by Sean, and then all this just kind of like more psychedelic progressive metal comes through the guitar riffs, and I hear Paul Masvidal's vocals, and the bassist, I forget his name, but he does like the growls on this album, and I was just in awe. I really couldn't make heads or tails of what was going on, other than I was just mesmerized by everything going on at the time. And it's one of the first, like, I guess, you know, underground metal albums I found on my own, and just immediately I was just all over this album, and it holds a very special place in my heart no matter what, because I'm not crazy for progressive metal, but I will always treasure the fuck out of this album because it is an awesome album. I mean, obviously Integral Birth is probably the fan favorite on here, but other great tracks, The Unknown Guest, Adam's Murmur, which is my personal favorite, The Space for This, Evolutionary Sleeper, just the whole album, honestly, is worthy of being listened to, but fuck, man, I love this album. Definitely has that whole, like, spiritual, somewhat psychedelic sound, but nothing too trippy. And another thing I guess I really enjoy a lot about this album, whether it be, you know, the very progressive, spiritual, like, guitarist Paul Masvidal does, or his angel-like vocals, or Sean's just really complex but very powerful drumming, It's just that it's progressive metal, but it doesn't feel like it drags out. All these tracks on here are roughly 3.5 minutes, 5 minutes most, and it just feels like they just genuinely jam out while still playing the style of progressive metal, and I think that's what truly has always kept me coming back to this album time and time again. Other than that, as for the layout and packaging, you have album artwork right here, backside with track listings, more trippy artwork. Surprisingly, this is a back on black pressing, but it honestly, and I'm not making this up or bullshitting you because it's one of my favorite albums, it sounds stellar. Also comes on a gatefold, as you would guess, just more weird looking artwork. Printed inner sleeve, you have, whoops, lyrics right here, more, again, trippy artwork. And this LP variant comes on semi-translucent blue, limited to 500 copies. Second to last for this vinyl part goes to Cyhyraeth with their demo, Wrapped in Branches. This was put out through Appalachian Noise Records, and I think this was released around the beginning of 2020. That maybe I bought it just because it was put out through a US distro, and around this time, you know, there was all the complications of, you know, hey, can outside countries even ship stuff to us? And I just figured, well, I want to get something, and Appalachian Noise Records put out this pretty straightforward black metal release. I decided to blind buy it after checking out 1 or 2 tracks, and really, it's just black metal. There's nothing really much else going on here. Just think of really standard black metal, and yeah, literally just that's it. It's just a standard black metal demo, nothing really to write home about. But yeah, if you want to get it, I think Appalachian Noise Records still has copies of it. So you have artwork right here, backside with track listings, standard black vinyl, and yeah, just really that it's just a black metal record, and that's about it. Final record to show for this vinyl collection part, and this is where we start the D's now. So get ready now, and the next 6 or 7 parts are going to be all bands that start with D. And we started off with Dakhma. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first release they ever did, and it's either an EP or a demo. And this is just ugly, putrid, mean, angry sounding black death metal that if you're a Antediluvian fan, you'll love this right away. And damn, I mean, even now, even though I'm not crazy for black death metal, this still hits like a ton of bricks, and I definitely get a lot of enjoyment out of it. It's rough around the edges. It just has such a putrid, angry sound that it just sounds like a dude that's just, again, like smashing his fists against stone. Like, it's just so primitive and just mean. I can't stress that enough with this release. I get a lot of enjoyment out of it. Definitely not their best though, because their follow-up full length, which will be in part 11, definitely outdoes this album. But you know, even though I'm not crazy for black death metal, Dakhma does it very well. Again, they're a part of the Helvetic Underground Committee, which is a surprise because it's the dudes from Ungfell doing a black death metal album, and I just wouldn't expect that because Ungfell and Dakhma are completely 2 different sounding black metal bands. Anyway, other than that, it was put out through Iron Bonehead Records, so more than likely they'll still have copies available there. So you have artwork right here, backside with track listings, comes on a gatefold. Fuck, I'm gonna show it, it's the last one, and comes on a standard black vinyl. Woo! Alright guys, that's it for this vinyl collection part. Like always, everything I talked about will be in the description below to the links of all the music, and yeah, that's that. So like always guys, make sure you guys drink plenty of water to stay hydrated, and have a great day.